Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my very first YouTube video, Becoming Nightwing. I'm going to be covering the materials and the techniques I use to apply the mask, the lenses, even the hairstyle that I use whenever I want to just look like a perfect Dick Grayson. Richard. His name is Richard, so it's not Nightwing. Just say Nightwing. Let's get started. First, let's go over all the materials you will need for this process. Let me note that not all these materials are necessary. These are just the items that I personally use. For example, if your hair is already awesome, you might not need to flat iron or blow dry it, so use this list at your own discretion. You will need a couple towels, a blow dryer, a flat iron, a round brush, hair product. In this video, I use Murray's Beeswax Pomade. It's cheap, effective, and keeps your hair together while still allowing for a more natural Dick Grayson look. However, I really recommend something closer to a hair clay or putty, something with a more matte finish. Some black foundation makeup and sponges. The brand of foundation that I use is Ben Nye. Ben Nye specializes in theatrical makeup, and I've always found their products to be effective and useful on all skin types. It is usually available at makeup supply stores, or you can easily get it online. I also use Ben Nye's charcoal powder. You don't need to use a black powder, but I highly recommend it. A charcoal powder will help to keep the foundation looking dark and aid in creating the illusion that the mask extends past its own edges and into your actual eyes. You'll also need a powder puff and brush. Some makeup remover wipes. White screen contact lenses. My lenses are from honeycolor.com. They have a pretty wide selection of contacts and really great customer service. A mask, obviously, namely the iconic TigerstoneFX mask. I really recommend this company for your mask needs. They too have great customer service and a big selection of masks for various comic book heroes, not just Nightwing. The masks are very well made, very sturdy, and also easy to work with. And finally, to apply the mask, you're going to need some Pro-Sade and a brush. Once you have all your materials, you're ready to put on your Nightwing face. Let's start with the hair. I begin with fully drenched hair and then thoroughly dry it off with a towel. Immediately, I brush it over to the side and begin to blow dry, meanwhile establishing some volume in my hair using my hands and the round brush. Once it's more or less in the rough shape that I want it, I begin flat ironing the bangs. My hair has a good amount of volume that I want to keep, so I don't flat iron all of it, just the most apparent parts. I then apply pomade to my hair and play around with it until it's just right, which takes a while. When it's finally perfect, I mess it up by pushing my bangs back so I can apply the raccoon eyes. I use a sponge to liberally apply a large circle of black foundation around each eye. After I think there's enough, I place the mask on my face to make sure that there is no foundation peeking out under the edges of the mask. If there is, I go over those spots with a towel to remove the excess. Next is the powdering. I put a bunch of powder on my puff, then proceed to punch myself in the eyes with it. Then I brush off the excess powder with my brush. Next, I take a damp cloth and dab it over the spots I just powdered to set the makeup. It's important to note that black powder gets really messy, so you'll want to go over those messier spots with a makeup wipe to clean up the excess powder. When the raccoon eyes are complete, I check my mask again to make sure that there are no additional excess spots that I missed. The next part is to prep the mask. I take my Pro-Sade and start dabbling small spots on the reverse side of the mask. If some of the Pro-Sade drips onto the front of the mask, I want to clean it up as soon as possible so that it doesn't dry. This will keep the front side of the mask looking smooth and natural. Only a little Pro-Sade is necessary for this step, and after I'm done spotting, I want to go over the entire back surface with my brush to spread the adhesive and make it as even as possible. Always check the front side one more time after spreading the glue, then let it sit for a while. While I put in my contacts, the Pro-Sade will dry and become almost clear, which is when I know it's ready to be placed on my face, which we will get back to soon. The next step is applying the contacts. Yeah, I hate this part. Take a deep breath and get started. With screen contacts, it's often hard to tell if the contacts are inside out or outside in, so make sure they're not reversed or you will spend a lot of time on this step, only to be very disappointed. The screen contacts also obstruct your vision a bit, which is why it's important to make sure that the mask is clean and your makeup is all in place before you put in the contacts. I always place a little more foundation on my raccoon eyes once I put in my contacts, so there are no weird spots from where my fingers were. Once your contacts are in, the mask should be dry or close to drying. You could speed the process up with a blow dryer if necessary, but be careful that you don't blow some of the adhesive onto the front side of the mask in the process. Alright, you're gonna need a completely neutral face when putting the mask on, so get any goofy faces out of the way first. With that done, put on your best Batman face and place the mask just right onto your eyebrows. Once it's in the perfect position, press your hands over the mask and into your face like you've just done something horrible, and keep them there for at least 30 seconds. After that, you can move your hands to a different position to get the parts of the mask that you might have not been able to reach with your hands in the first position. I go over some of the edges of the mask with a little more Crocade and hold those parts down just to make sure it's completely attached to my face. Once that's done, you can readjust your hair to make it look just perfect, and then take a look in the mirror. If you look like you're a blind wolf, you've done it right. Congratulations, you have become Nightwing. Alright, so there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my first YouTube video. If you liked it, hit like below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe. I'd like to talk about distressing fabric next. That's my next big cosplay tutorial video that I want to do, and some of the techniques I use so that you can make your cosplays look less like you just made them or you just bought them, and more like they've been worn in the world that your character was living in. I also plan on using this channel for other things other than just cosplay, comic book reviews, video games, all the nerdy things that I love. So if you want to hear more or you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.